City Lights on Location travel to Hollywood, California to meet with the man who is famous for his body, Mr. Olympia, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger has appeared so far in 3 motion pictures, Pumping Iron, Stay Hungry, and The Villain. And we'll be right back on location in Hollywood with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're on location in Burbank, California with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was quoted once as having said, "My goal is to get to the stage where I can do absolutely everything that I want to do, which is creating the kind of name and an image so that whatever I do, I will be all right." How close are you to that goal?
I'm pretty close, but I'm still far away at the same time because I'm always changing careers. You know, I'm going from bodybuilding into acting, and then from acting maybe into producing, and from producing into something else. So you always start all over again. You carry with you a certain amount of fame from one field to the other. But I'm getting close to it, you know. And what I want really is the freedom of doing the things that I want to do. That you're not always have to depend on other people.
You know, it's been pointed out medically, or I should say physiologically, that there are 434 muscles in the human body, and perhaps more than anyone else's, we know more about most of yours. And I say that because you've been very careful in deciding what you would do. You admitted that you knew that your physique, first of all, could lead you into an acting career, but that you were being very careful with what you did as an actor. And I just wonder, why did you turn down an opportunity as you did, I believe, to be with Mae West in Sextet? Were you offered that?
Yeah, I was offered that to get a major role in the film, but I think it was mainly because I was at some previous parties before the film started shooting, and the indication to me was that they were very disorganized and the film never would get off the ground, or if the film is done, that never would then get off the ground, and I was right on that. And I had this feeling, you know, and I think if I would have had a good part in it, and if it was a well-organized film, I would have obviously worked in it, because I think that Mae West is a big star, and she's a good actress and everything, and I wouldn't have mind working with her at all.
Did you meet her, Arnold?
Yes, I met her. Yeah.
Was this a preliminary discussion about the possibility of Sextet?
No, it was a party. It was very well set at the time already that the film would start, but the directors were still arguing of what the script should be. Should it be brought up to date, or should it be from the 1930s, or, you know, what it should be. So I saw there was not really any decision being made yet, and I felt it was too early to really commit myself, and so I just stayed out of it as far as I could.
There were many stories in the film industry circulating around the fact that you, Bruce Jenner, and Christopher Reeve were the front runners for the role in Superman. We all know, of course, who played it in both parts 1 and 2. But the explanation was that while you had the nickname as the 6-time Mr. Olympia and the man who'd won all of the titles you had of the Austrian Oak, the feeling was that it was your very Austrian accent that had cost you the role, and had it not been for your accent, you might indeed have played Superman. Would you have said yes?
No, I don't think I would have said yes, because I hate to play myself, you know, and I am Superman, and therefore I didn't want to play it. But I was very happy that they dedicated the film to my life story, and made a film out of that.
What have you been doing? Taking lessons from Muhammad Ali?
No. Not at all. As a matter of fact, I'm a big admirer of Muhammad Ali. I think he did a great job always in promoting himself and as a fighter and all that. But I always was a very original person, and I always did things the way I wanted to do it, rather than copying other people and falling into a slot, you know.
Was it Eric Morris, the drama coach? Was that the name?
Yes.
When did you decide to go to a drama coach?
When I got my first job with Bob Raferson, who directed Stay Hungry, and I had no acting experience at the time, and I just went up to his office and convinced him that I would be the right one to do the part of Joe Santo in Stay Hungry, and we talked a little bit, and he said, yeah, he says, I think you are the right guy, but you know, you have to also act in the film and so on. And I said, well, don't worry about that, because I would take care of that. I would just take lessons after lessons until I know how to do it. And so I took lessons for months, and then went back up to his office and did a reading for him, and he loved it, you know. So I knew it worked, and I went always back ever since to Eric Morris, who helped me a lot.
One of your co-stars, of course, in Stay Hungry was Jeff Bridges, but there are stories in the film industry that Jeff Bridges, along with Warren Beatty and Jack Nicholson, have called upon you for guidance. Can we believe that you've been giving physical fitness lessons to Warren Beatty, Jack Nicholson, and Jeff Bridges? Have you got their bodies in better shape than they were before they met you?
No, I tell you, the one that I helped a lot was Jeff Bridges, because Bob Raferson told me that he wanted Jeff Bridges to come into the film with 20 pounds less body weight, and he wanted to make him look like he has been working out with weights, because that was his character, a guy that fell in love also with working out with weights and so on. And so that's what I did. I had him into running, and I got him into doing sit-ups and all those things. And of course, the times when I met Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty, the last thing we talked about was physical fitness. So I cannot take any credit for in case they're in any better shape now as they were 5 years ago.
I have to ask you, I just wonder if your career as an actor would have taken the directions it has, obviously, if you hadn't done that Merv Griffin show and Gary Morton hadn't called you to talk about appearing with his wife. Will you tell us what happened when Gary Morton called?
Well, I did the first talk show on Merv Griffin. I mean, it was the first talk show ever that I did, and it was the Merv Griffin show with Shaki Green as the guest host. And I apparently seemed funny to Gary Morton, you know. I mean, it's very hard when you sit out there, you know, to really see yourself, you know. But he called me the next day and he said, you know, I thought you were very humorous and very funny and witty and bright out there, and I want you to be, you know, starring with my wife, Lucia Ball, in a comedy special, and come over for an interview, you know. So I went over there for an interview, and he hired me for the job, and that was actually my first TV experience working. As a matter of fact, it was like stage acting, because he did it in front of an audience with 3 cameras shooting it, and it was a great experience.
Also, didn't Lucille Ball give you some advice about your career at the time?
No, but we talked about, I mean, everybody was behind. There was smashed and rum and Coke and Coca-Cola.
Of course.
And all those things that there was very little advice left. But I mean, she was very helpful, and she always kept telling me to project and to be louder on stage, and because stage acting is so different from anything else, because you have to speak up loud so all the 2,000 people out there, or 3,000, whatever it was, can listen to you, you know. And so those are the kind of advices I always got. And but the one that also got a lot of advice and a lot of directions from Lucia Ball was Art Carney, who was at the time, you know, a award winner for his acting and all that. But she is a tremendous lady, very aggressive, very strong, and knows exactly what she wants.
Will you tell us why, when you're in a position to and someone offers you $200,000 to endorse a tire, you turn it down?
Because I have money, but I still have to work on my career, and that did not fit into my career. In my career, I have to I visualize and have it very well in my mind what I want to do, and the tire commercial is not in that, does not fall into that category. And you know, I want to make $1 million in the film. I want to make big motion pictures once a year, a good film, and I want to eventually get into producing films. And in all those things, I mean, the tire commercial does not fit into it, and since I don't need any money, you know, I don't have to take it. You know, because I have so many other businesses going, from writing books to a mail order business, real estate, and producing competitions and all that, that I really don't need to rely on the money I make from films. It's always nice making it, you know, but you don't have to take everything for it.
Good explanation. Can we take a commercial break? And we'll be back?
Sure.
We'll be right back with Arnold Schwarzenegger right after this. We're back on location with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There are a combination of things about you that fascinate me. I mean, the private man, beyond the acting and the fact that you received the critical acclaim you did, and you surprised many people, both in Stay Hungry and Pumping Iron. And the villain is an extension of that, because people seem surprised that you had this dry sense of humor that perhaps like Burt Reynolds, they couldn't put you down because you got there first with your own wit. And I just wonder, when one picks up a magazine and reads a story like Arnold Schwarzenegger has realized his dream. Last night he met and spoke with Jackie Onassis. Did it mean that much to you, or was the New York press having fun with the fact that perhaps you told someone you wanted to meet Jackie Onassis?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that the press always has fun by writing about people, you know. So that's the first thing. And I have to say that I'm a big admirer of Jackie Onassis, and it was a great thing that I did meet her at the opening of Pumping Iron and all that. And she's a very bright woman, and it was a very joyful experience, yes. But that it was the day of my life or anything like that, that some of the people wrote, I think was a little bit stretched.
As long as we're speaking of beautiful women that one can admire, did you meet Maria Shriver that day at the party with Mrs. Onassis?
No, I did not. I met her a year and a half later at a tennis tournament, which was, I think, in 1977. Tennis tournament, the Kennedy tennis tournament, which is for, you know, for charity kind of a thing. That's where I met her.
Someone was asking you about women and what it was you found particularly attractive, and you confided that what you wanted was, of course, an attractive woman, but you wanted a woman who might be brighter than you were because you could learn something from her. And then when you were asked what your ideal woman might be, you came up very quickly with the name of Candice Bergen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Is that your ideal woman?
Well, she has the elements that I admire very much, which is, again, and she's not the only one, but she's the one maybe that I saw at that time, or met at that time, and was very impressed with. I mean, she has beauty, she is very intelligent, she's very quick, she's bright, she knows what she wants, and she's very independent in many ways, but in other ways, you know, she again has nice, long-lasting relationships and all that, and there are other women like that, and that's what I admire very much in women, when they are very strong and very smart and attractive, you know, because the beauty itself, of course, is nice, but like I said in that interview, I like somebody that is smarter than I am, because it keeps me on my toes and it keeps me always working, and it keeps a relationship very interesting, you know.
How would you describe Anne Margaret?
Anne Margaret is has something added on to that. Well, actually not added on, but I mean, she's just so feminine, and again also knows so much about where she wants to go with her career and what she wants to do with her life, regardless of what people say. I mean, she really knows what she wants, and that's exactly what she does. And she's very bright, you know, and a great actress. I mean, she just has so many things going for herself that I'm a big admirer of her, really am.
Sally Field?
Sally Field's unbelievable actress. I mean, I just could not believe it when I saw her. I could not believe her performance in each one of the films that I've seen so far. And I did not get to know Sally Fields that well
during
speak.
Stay Hungry.
Yeah, during Stay Hungry, because I think that the part that she played was much more with Jeff Bridges than with me. And whereas I had a real good chance meeting Anne Margaret on a film, because my part was always with her, you know.
Will you tell us what Pumping Iron Behind Bars means and how it came to be filmed?
Well, it is not finished yet, and it is. I have been doing exhibitions and seminars in prisons for the last 2 years, and I have had some wonderful experiences, and also have witnessed enormous changes amongst the prisoners, changes in such a way that it was really obvious that weight training had an enormous effect also psychologically on people. And I always believed that all along, and it was obvious in prisons, and so we started really introducing a big program in prisons for the prisoners, so they have something to hold on to and to train and let their hostilities and their negative energy out on the weights in a weight room rather than on people. And now what I did was, because I saw those great things that were happening in the prisons, I decided to do a documentary on it. And that's what we're doing right now. We're in the middle of that, and we're filming in places like St. Quentin, Soledad, Folsom Prison, women prisons and so on, and just showing people out there that are not aware of that side of prisons, which is a very positive side of prisons. People only know the negative sides of prisons. The positive side is that where the prison guards work out with the inmates together, where they help each other, where they compete against each other, where they measure their arms, you know, who gets big arms, who can bench press more weight, and where the guards really pay a lot of attention to the prisoners and give them positive attention when they get better. And it's the first time ever that a prisoner experiences positive attention when somebody compliments them on doing something well. Wow, Charlie, you can bench press 500 pounds now. Or, this is Charlie over there with big arms and all that. So it's just a whole turnaround, and I'm very much into that, and so that's what the documentary is all about.
Arnold, we have to take a commercial break, okay?
Okay, fine.
We'll be right back with Arnold Schwarzenegger on location in Burbank, California, right after this. You were giving us a definition of your villain co-star, Anne Margaret, earlier, and I was amused when I found out that Kirk Douglas, your other co-star and villain, you said he had more exercise equipment in his home than I have ever had in my workrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised that Kirk Douglas had such a well-equipped gymnasium at home?
I was very surprised all around about Kirk Douglas. I was surprised that he was not really a mean character as he portrays in many of the films, that he's a very humorous and a very kind man. I was very surprised that he was in this unbelievable physical condition he was in. I mean, unbelievable physical condition. I mean, he was playing tennis for 2 hours with the age of 62. He was running for an hour with me. Then I walked into his room in Tucson, and he had around 500 pounds of weights in his room with all kinds of benches and so on. I mean, he was more into that than I was into it. He really knew all the technicalities, and so how to get a higher biceps, how to get my serratus muscles developed, and all those things, you know. So I was very surprised about that, how somebody in that age can be so into it and is really keeping in fantastic shape. It was very, very inspirational, I think, for people in his age and also for young kids.
You know, something that I found interesting about you, well, a lot of your time and energy is going into the other things you've mentioned. You said that because you were addicted, you still had to go and work out, because if you didn't, you just couldn't deal with things mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And I know all the cliches that one knows about sound mind and sound body. But how long have you actually gone in your life without a workout? How many days?
Well, without working out with weights, I think a month. But at that very same time, I was probably skiing in Austria or somewhere in Colorado every day for 8 hours. So, I mean, it balances it out really nicely. What that basically means is that I have to do some kind of physical activity every day, because it really sets off the day really well if you get up in the morning and run 5 miles. I feel like I have done something for myself. I can then go for breakfast and eat and get ready for my office work and for my everyday stuff. And I think that the body needs that, because we are now in an age where everything is mechanical. I mean, everything is with machines, elevators and cars and all those things, that the body was not really meant for all those kind of technology, and that's why we have to create it artificially in gymnasiums and through running and swimming and so on.
With the villain being the fait accompli it is and playing in movie theaters all over North America, there were announcements even before it was finished that Dino De Laurentiis had you contracted. Is it Conan?
Conan, yeah.
Conan.
Yeah.
Are you going to make Conan for Dino De Laurentiis?
Yes, we start shooting in January most likely, and that's a film, of course, I was looking forward to for a long time. You know, it was something that I've been working on for 2 years. And of course, when you get into a situation like where you deal with a budget of $15 and $20 million or so, it always takes much longer than a budget of a film of $5 million. Because you're shooting, you know, we're going to shoot in Yugoslavia for maybe 4 months and all that. So I also like the character very much. It's a very barbarian-like character. It's something that I've never done on film, and it's something that you like to do because it's permitted to do it on a film. You know what I mean? You know, the director says action, and here you are with your sword, samurai sword, and chopping away on things, and you're having a good time. And And so you can kind of let out your fantasies, which is nice to do.
Will you be functioning as a performer and a producer since you've expressed your desire to produce?
No, I produced only the documentary that I'm doing right now on weight training in prisons. But in that film, I only will be starring in it. And I think Raquel Welch will be in it. Hopefully, they're right now trying to get Sean Connery to be in it and so on. And so they're right now sewing up the whole package and then start shooting, you know. But I think as a producer, we'll be starting when I really feel comfortable with acting and comfortable to go to the next step.
When you get to Yugoslavia, Arnold, will you be anywhere near the Yugoslavian border, near Austria, where you grew up?
Oh yeah, I will not be that far away, so I will be hopefully having my mother send down all the good Apfelstrudel and cheesecake and all the things that she makes.
Do you speak any Yugoslavian?
No, I don't. No.
All you have to remember when you get there, Arnold, is dobra dobra.
Dobra dobra, which means?
It's good, twice.
Uh-huh,
I don't know
good.
what the word for very is, so you'll just say dobra
Okay,
dobra.
dobra dobra.
I
Good.
thank you for this opportunity to meet you and speak with you.
Thank you, and I have to compliment you for the fantastic research you have done. I mean, you know more about me than I do.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Very great.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Ryan Linehan on location in Burbank, California with Arnold Schwarzenegger.